Yeah, doesn't matter.
Steal my spot from last time.
Yep.
Feel the house here?
Nope.
Sedge.
Should I sit more over here?
It doesn't matter. Just as long as you can reach the mic. If it doesn't, they're the same length, sadly. So
Yeah. I'll just put you over here.
it always does this.
Oh, is it not? Is it not? Sorry, how should have my extension. Okay, here.
This place is St. Joseph's Indian School. Here, we preserve traditions, provide the Mahaffey kids a safe place to learn, attend to the mind, body, heart, and spirit of every child in our care. To learn more, go to helpforthekids.org today. WLCB is an all-volunteer community radio station, and we do have expenses. We rely on contributions from our listeners. Please visit www.mixradio.org and click the Donate to WLCB wherever you can spare. 5, 10, $20. Every little bit helps us produce programs like the one you're listening to. Again, please visit www.mixradio.org and click on Donate to WLCB. WLCB is a 501c3 organization.
Listen to WLCB LP, Slade Corners. Hopefully,
Hello, everybody, and welcome to your Tabletop Roundup here on this stormy, rainy, kind of gray and down Saturday afternoon. I am your host, Joshua Jakes, and we are live from the studio. And this is a first for me. Now, people who have known me for a long time have known that I've been on the radio. This is like year number 10 for me on the radio. I've practically grown up on the air. This is a first for me, in which case I have guests coming on back-to-back episodes. Why don't you guys reintroduce yourselves? Something interesting about you, and we'll do the same question from last time because I know one of you knows a little bit more about it now. Your favorite Warhammer faction. So let's start with you, John. Introduce yourself and what's up with you?
Well, looks like I'm back here again. I am John Zankar. Little funny factoid about myself is that I am very capable of breathing air.
I don't know what else to expect, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
You invite a bunch of nerds onto a show about being a nerd, and this is the type of answers you get.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to give you a straight answer. Well, favorite faction still sitting in pretty much Tyranids and Orcs.
Tyranids and Orcs. You know what? That's fair. And you, I know you have a good answer for this now, so why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, an interesting fact, and
You're sitting in love with that statement.
your favorite faction.
Well, so my name's Evelyn Bridges, and an interesting fact about me is that I'm about to own 2 more chameleons. This time they're panthers, not veiled. So
4 now.
4.
All
4
right.
recipe. And then I think my favorite faction, still learning about it, but I think Chaos is I'm kind of leaning toward because the figures are wicked looking and I like them.
The forces of chaos, the corrupted. Slaanesh, yes. The corrupted brothers of mankind. What got you interested in chaos?
I just think it looked really I'm going by the rule of cool here, but
As well you should. As well you should. Normally when you want to get interested in Warhammer, you want to play it by the rule of cool. What speaks out to you, what interests you. Hence why for me it's the Tau. But yeah, go ahead.
I think it's because they broke the rules and that's how they are. So I'm like, yeah, I can get with that.
Mhm. Slanesh. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, the Forces of Chaos, they're about to get a bunch of new codexes coming out soon. They've all been announced, but Chaos Space Marines joining their non-corrupted brothers with the 2 wounds, as opposed to the one that they were stuck with in 8th edition. Chaos Knights getting a new codex as well. Separate, a new codex that's going to be released along with, at the same time, with the Imperial Knights codex. Do you know the difference between them yet? Do you know Chaos
Not
Knights at all?
yet.
They're one of the obscure factions I've learned. You don't really see them outside of apocalypse matches, so those like 10, 12,000 point matches.
Yeah.
They're giant behemoths. Like one will cost like 600 points to bring into the battle. They're just giant behemoths with a ton of wounds.
So they're good if you're not like super into like high level macro. If
Yeah.
you saw a bunch of big individual things that you can control a lot easier. That's a pretty good go-to.
Stuff that can like kind of hit hard and stay on the battlefield a bit longer.
Yeah, but also the flip side of that is they're tall and they're big, and I
Easy to
think
hit.
yeah, they're easy
Yeah.
to hit. I think they hold. I might be wrong, but I think they hold the Titanic keyword, meaning they can always be seen. So, yeah.
Yikes.
But I mean, they're worth it. If that's the type of game you like to play. Unfortunately, I don't have Chaos models of my own. I have yet to fight a Chaos army, mainly because they're far behind with that. They're still stuck with 1 wound, etc., etc. But I know Chaos can be good. I've watched a lot of videos, a lot of battle reports on YouTube with Chaos. I know that they can outperform a lot of armies if they're done right, and I feel like that's the same for everything. They're not popular in tournaments, but they do make appearances every now and then. Even then, with the 1 wound still. But yeah, Chaos is definitely an interesting choice. So is it mostly based off the models?
Mostly, I still have to do like a little bit more research, like along with other factions too. But I think that one caught my eye the most because it just looks like something really fun to have.
Yeah, and it's I brought with me the Warhammer 40K core book. So the main rules and bios on every single faction. I'm willing to let you borrow it for a little bit to read through whatever catches your eye. They have all sorts of lore and information about just the forces of chaos in general, the Heretic Astartes, so the Chaos Space Marines, the Black Legion, a very specific group coming from the beginning of the Horus Heresy, which was the start of the Chaos factions, which is now its own spin-off game. Is the Horus Heresy. So Warhammer 30K as opposed to 40K.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's only Chaos and Space Marines.
I know for while you're like hearing half of this, you're like, all right, cool, Horus Heresy. Yeah, I definitely know what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just the Chaos. I know in the lore they're just. I mean, they're demons. They're the opposite of good guys. Like bad guys alone doesn't even begin to describe Chaos. I mean,
They're
you're
the bad guys.
You also have to remember, like, my main character I have is a demon, so
right.
some sort. So
But then a Chaos
Demon-esque.
also.
demon-esque.
Chaos also lets you, go into different sub factions. Like you take a look at armies like the Tau. or the Tyranids, and you have the different sub-factions, and they don't really do much outside of different models, maybe small rule differences, different colors. I shouldn't say different models, different colors. Whereas, Chaos allows you to have Khorne, Slaanesh, Nurgle, all these Chaos demons, Chaos Walkers, the Thousand Suns, who I believe are, I want to say they have their own codex. I'm going to look that up because I'm not 100% sure. But nevertheless, it's definitely one of those things where, yeah, they have their own codex now, Thousand Suns.
Oh, wow.
These are definitely the type of army. You got Khorne with the Chaos, the traditional red Chaos demons, kind of flame. Khorne. Yeah, Khorne being the god of blood, the Chaos, so this evil entity, god of blood.
Was that perchance the one I really lazily drew in Gartic Phone?
Yeah. That
I tried my best.
blood for the blood.
Skulls
for the skull
throne, blood for the blood god.
Yes. Blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne.
Yeah.
And then you got Nurgle, the god. I don't know what exactly he's the god of, but god of plagues. So you have poxwalkers and these plague marines with their models are very gruesome.
Yeah, is it perchance kind of like the Four Horsemen?
I don't know.
Not exactly.
They're more just generally very.
Yeah.
So you got Slaanesh, who's
How to describe this on a PG family setting is the question. Looking over at the book, enemies.
They cover the deviance of the sexual variety.
Yeah, pretty much. So looking over at the core book, I flipped it over to a part specifically about the Chaos demons. Each Chaos God's legions manifest physical characteristics, twisted abilities, and overarching drives that embody that deity's essential nature. And that kind of goes down, and you got the Khorne with the traditional Chaos-based Marines, and Nurgle with the Plague Marines and stuff. Khorne's bloody legions are relentlessly violent and endlessly wrathful, equipped to spill vital fluids and take skulls with tooth, claw, and blade. The most favored of Khorne's followers charge into the fray on massive juggernauts, brass-fleshed fusions of horned beast and machine. They are led by mighty bloodthirsters, bestial-headed mountains of fury. These demon lords carry huge axes and crudely barbed whips, clad in armor of magic-resistant brass.
Pretty hardcore.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one thing to talk about Warhammer
These guys are
40K.
the jocks.
Yeah, they're the jocks of chaos.
They come into the party with a 12-pack, scream yeah, let's go, let's do it, yeah, and then they ram their head through 20 balls.
Mm-hmm. And then
they have no idea of semblance of self-control.
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. And then flipping over to Nurgle, enemies double over in nausea at the hideous stench of Nurgle's plague legions before they even set eyes on the grandfather's foul offspring. I don't know what the thing is for that. I'm not well versed in chaos lore. John, why is he the grandfather? Do you know?
Well, I think it says specifically the grandfather's foul spawn. Is that what it
Offspring.
says? Offspring. Well, putting context clues together, it seems like he's pretty good at popping them out.
The plague god delegates much authority to the great unclean ones, vast bloated monstrosities that heave themselves across the battlefield, their open sores weeping pus, and their streaming. This is gruesome.
Hey, it's your average League of Legends player.
Yeah, fair. The streaming entrails dragging behind them. All of Nurgle's progeny delight in the spreading of unholy contagions, seeking to infest the galaxy with the fungal growths, unending plagues, and fleshy influences that they see as Nurgle's gift to an ungrateful but fortunate galaxy.
Yep, smells like gamers to me.
Yeah, I mean, this is typically what you would expect out of like a typical zombie game type of scenario, where it's like you've got,
But the body horror factor turned up to an 11.
yeah, pretty much. And then, of course, that's just the Chaos Demons. Then you got the Chaos Space Marines. I mean, demons, I don't know. You never really see an army of just demons. You normally see demons paired up with Space Marines. Demons focusing more on the melee, cheap throwaway units. In all honesty, as they don't care about anyone other than themselves. That's kind of why the Horus Heresy happened. It's kind of why the Chaos forces exist outside of the demons, was because these human legions of Space Marines.
Man, imagine losing half of your supercharged kids to the chaos. Couldn't be me.
For those of you who have no idea what that's talking about, that's referring to the Horus Heresy. And the Horus Heresy, basically to sum it all up in a quick 2-minute explanation, is that the Emperor of mankind is immortal and exists on a golden throne.
Praise be he for all eternity.
And humans kind of worship him as this like God Emperor.
Literally his title is God Emperor.
Yeah. And I'm looking over.
Yikes.
Yeah. And what happened was he had 10 sons, right? 10? 10 or 20?
12.
12. Wow. Way off.
I think.
12 sons. And then Horus was the first to align himself and his followers, his children, the Space Marines of his legions, they were the first to turn to chaos. And he, 5 of the other factions, or half of the factions, turned themselves over to the powers of chaos.
This sounds very familiar.
And started a bloody civil war that ended with mankind essentially winning, with chaos being exiled to a place in the galaxy called the Great Terror, which is basically like a nebula, a storm of just blood. Kind of like hell, but in the galaxy. That would be a really good way of explaining the Great Terror. And chaos, these factions, these forces of chaos exist only to expand this terror across the entire galaxy. And they don't care what or who stands in their way. In the lore for Warhammer, at the end, there's this fortress world called Cadia. And Cadia is right next to the Great Terror. And it's kind of humanity's like front line with the war against chaos. And I believe it's the year the way they do years is a little different, but it would be essentially like the year 40,999.
Yeah, so like in the lore, the war is technically not over, but the humans is in the winning side.
Yeah. So in the end, and Cadia has kind of been like a stonewall defense. Like they have not been able to take it. Like all it is just a military world with the Cadian shock troops of the Imperial Guard. Humanity's basically conscript forces.
Okay. Real quick, it was 20.
Aha!
There are 20 Primarchs.
Yeah. So 20 of them, 10 of them turned to chaos. That makes a lot of sense. And in the year 40,999, Cadia falls. The fall of Cadia falls to the Chaos forces, kind of starting a new war, essentially, with Chaos. Not that the war ever ended, but Chaos now has that foothold. They're not restricted anymore, allowing them to push forward in the galaxy once more. And it's kind of funny because you see, Warhammer, the lore, takes place in books and video games. I mean, they have their own streaming service now. Who doesn't these days? And there's this game that I play called Gothic Armada, and it takes place right after the fall of Cadia. And what makes it also interesting is that Cadia was a Necron tomb world as well. And so you see these Necrons awaken to like chaos pushing forward with Abaddon the Despoiler leading his 13th crusade or whatever, something like that. And the Necrons show up.
I just imagine they wake up and they're like, all right, hold up, kiddos. Hold my beer.
Yeah, what they do in the game, at least, is they show up. They awaken, and there's some tech priests down in all the Necron tech. Like, what's this?
Ooh.
You know what it is. You've seen it 100 times before. I'm sure. Just stop. You know what it is.
Right.
It's black and green. Who else could it be but the Necrons?
But they are the tech priests.
Yeah, but they are the.
It's like their thing.
Yep. And out pops a Necron overlord. And the tech priest goes like,
Uh-oh.
I'm sure I can pull up the video. I'll just save the time from doing so. Maybe during the break, I'll try to find it and play it so you all can hear it, because I'm sure the video is going to do a better job of explaining what it is than I am. Let's be real. And the Necron's like, well, the tech priest says, well, I have to kill you because you're Xeno.
Right.
And the Necron's like, no. Wait a minute.
No.
You want to know how all this works, right? Yeah. Don't kill me. Let me show you. And he activates it. These pylons pipe out on the surface of Cadia. The Imperium's all freaking out. And then it's like this Necron super laser kind of shoots into the Eye of Terror. And it doesn't destroy it, but it pushes it back. But the forces of chaos have already gone out. Yeah.
Right.
So it gets pushed back, like physically, like distance-wise, gets pushed away from Cadia, but Cadia has fallen at that point to chaos. So too little too late, but the chaos forces are left without more reinforcements at the beginning of that war, kind of dooming them in a way, but also at the same time, it's chaos. We all know they're going to do their thing anyway, whether they have reinforcements or not.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, that's chaos in a nutshell.
Yeah, literally the guy wakes up, tech priest saying, oh, okay, cool, I gotta kill you, and Necron says, bet.
So here's my question to you. Have you looked at the sub-factions for chaos at all? Or have you looked at just that, oh, this is cool, this is interesting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm the second. I'm option B.
Okay, so I know we've talked a lot about demons and space marines, and I'm sure a lot of it's like, what is this? But based on what we've talked about thus far, what's your impression of chaos? Like, is that still what you want to go for based on lore? Or like, is it kind of a little like, maybe not? Or is it more like, I am doubling down, give me my starter kit now? Like, where do you fall in that spectrum?
I'm still interested in it. I think it's like, still gotta take some time on it. But like, if I would get a starter kit, I'd probably get like chaos over top others.
Mm-hmm. So I know with chaos, the main groups are the Heretic Astartes, which are just
Chaos Space Marines.
Chaos Space Marines, nothing special about them. The Death Guard, which are the Plague Marines, the Nurgle, very graphic type of guts spilling out from the model type of units. And then you got the Thousand Sons, which look like, I mean, I'm looking at a picture of them right now. I'll show it to you in a second. Evil Egyptians? Like evil ancient Egypt, but their color scheme is blue and yellow.
Yeah, kind of
Like,
decked out.
here's the picture.
Yeah, kind of like decked out like ancient Egyptian gods.
Yeah, kind of like evil, decked out, ancient Egyptian gods. They're very psychic heavy. I played a game against one of them with my Necrons and lost terribly. But it was also like my second time ever playing, so it's whatever. And then you got the Chaos Knights. And then, I mean, Chaos is all just about destruction and blood for the Blood God and skulls for the Skull Throne and, you know, giving Nurgle's gift to the galaxy, and that's really all they care about.
I mean, every story has to have a villain, right?
Yeah, but Chaos is literally the apocalypse.
Except
Yeah.
this is Warhammer 40k. Nobody except for those silly fish people are quote unquote good.
Well, you got the humans who are like xenophobic bigots, Chaos who literally don't care about anyone other than themselves. You got the Necrons who believe in restoring their old dynasty, however it's pronounced, restoring their old holdings. The Eldari who are literally just trying to survive.
Yeah. Ultimately was interesting, but I'm like, I'd have to like look into it a bit.
Mm-hmm. And their color scheme is very easy to paint too. If you just want to go for the Heretic Astartes, it's just black and gold. I'm looking at a picture. I'm just going to hand it to you. It's like black and gold and some red. It's very easy to paint.
It's like designing it's like doing your fashion for Warframe.
Yeah. And then you got the Orcs, which are literally a fungus, which
Yeah,
is interesting.
Literally living fungus.
And then you got the demons. You know, they've see the interesting thing is there's not many factions that carry over from Age of Sigmar Warhammer, so like high fantasy, elves, orcs, etc.,
Yeah.
to Warhammer 40k, even though it's the same universe. But the Chaos Demons, the Khorne Demons, they're playable in both games, which honestly would be the only reason why I would get the Chaos Demons, the Khorne, whatever they're called, the Khorne Demons, not Khorne as in Corn, Khorne as in Khorne, like it's that big of a difference.
Whoa.
I mean, that would be the only reason why I would start an army of them, but I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. And then you got the Eldari, like I said, that are trying to survive. You got the Tyranids, who are...
Coming to steal your dreams.
Yeah, pretty much. And they are the main antagonist of the new Warhammer Space Marine game coming out sometime in the near future. And I played the original back when that first came out. This is a sequel long overdue. I know Warhammer and this type of tabletop games has a very selective type of niche, I believe is the right word. There's not many people who are into it, but the people who are into it are into it. I can tell you that we've all been waiting for the sequel for years. So you got the Eldari, the Drukhari, the Harlequins, Ynnari. They're all the same species. You got the Tau that are just trying to bring everyone under a flag of space communism unity. I at least admit it. The Orcs, which, okay, in the lore, like there's a lot of great stories in the lore, which is why I guess John and I always go back to the lore in moments like this. The Orcs are so in tune with their psychic abilities.
They are literally just a walking like clown festival.
Yeah.
Because they're so in tune with their psychic capabilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're so in tune with their psychic capabilities that what they believe, like if they believe it, it happens.
Yeah, that's it. That's literally it. Just I believe it, therefore it happened.
Yeah. On the contrary, on the flip side, their intelligence score is like a 2.
That's probably why they're so in sync with their sidekick. It's just like, all right, cool. I don't need to think about it. I just believe it. Bet.
Yeah, and so they believe, they believe. One of my favorite stories. Well, I'll share this story, and then we'll go ahead and jump into our break.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite stories is these human Imperial Guard soldiers ran out of ammo, and they're like, "What do we do?" And the commander just says, "Just shout, bang." And the orcs believed that their guns were still working,
Oh my
So they
gosh.
died.
so they died.
Legit dead.
Wow.
No
Yeah.
ifs or buts. They just died.
Yeah, definitely interesting Warhammer 40k lore. And there's stuff like that with everything. We got Space Marines, we got Chaos, we got all sorts of lore. When we come back from this break, we're going to talk more about the lore. We're going to talk more about Chaos. We're going to talk more about some other factions, maybe broaden your horizons a little bit. And maybe by the end of the episode, we'll see if you still feel the same way about Chaos or any other faction. Are you excited?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us today here on Tabletop Roundup. And while I do the outro, John, why don't you go ahead, look through this playlist, choose a song for everyone. Let me know when you pick it. And yeah, so when we come back, we're going to talk more about Warhammer 40k, this wonderful world that binds us together. We're going to talk more about tabletop gaming. We're going to talk about what's been going on in the tournament circuit. Spoiler alert, more of the exact same thing. And yeah, and hopefully, I know after this we have planned to go and teach you how to play a game of Warhammer. So, John, have you picked a song?
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, when we come back, we'll get right into that. And I hope you guys stay tuned, and we will be right back. That one's not working. It's all up there now.
Okay. Cool.
Oh.
What?
Fallout 4, goddamn.
Actually,
Fallout in general. I just
Fallout
read
3,
Fallout 3.
which honestly is very fitting.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is very fitting.
Yeah, I literally saw the name side by side. I'm like, I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna say that. That looks good.
So I'm thinking,
Well, at least it's Fallout, was right.
Yeah.
Just know the melody.
you can do talk a little bit about Tyranids and Orcs. I'll talk a little bit about the Tau, and then at the end we'll just,
Answer some questions.
if I get any.
Yeah, literally orcs are just, it's insane. That was literally like, if they wanted to, they could put like cardboard box down, staple a couple like weights to it. They still just go surrounding the car. That's it. It works. And if they like run out of gas, they'll say, "No, we're not out of gas."
They paint their things red because they believe it makes it go faster.
Yeah.
And because
And
they
that's
believe
because it goes faster. It goes faster. That's it. See, they're so dumb that it comes right back around to that it just works.
Mhm.
It's literally the ideology works. Just it's stupid, but it works.
Yeah.
That's why I love it.
And feel free to flip through this as we talk.
And that's the same in a playstyle.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, they can only hit like
Wait, so what's the purple demon?
Slanesh.
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 Yeah, the dominant one.
Here, I have another song after
I saw
this.
purple and I'm like,
Yeah, I figured you might gear towards that.
my gear towards Slanesh, but like,
Gear towards the yeah.
but at least like, it does. It all looks really gnarly. So I'm like, I wouldn't mind kind of having a mixture of everything.
Here's
Corn is basically, corn is blood. It's basically violence, dribble, disease, slash sexual deviance. And what's the fourth one? It's like the big brain one or whatever.
I don't know. Phil, Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and jump back on here in a minute because the song's already over. I just flipped one on because it's a quick song.
This is Sneech. Yeah. They're the they're more the magic-y kind of papery ones.
I might like lean toward those two.
I'm not sure the description. Chaos Knights. Yeah, this guy.
That guy.
This guy.
He's cool.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Sneech simulating legions are writhing masses of warm flesh, their bodies swathed in pure energy. The change gods.
Empiric.
The change gods, minions, change gods, this thing, take the form of cackling, sandy, blasting distortions that can wield deadly orb flame and conjure sorcery capable of mutilating foes. So they're, again, magic more stuff.
Magic. I like that.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
10.
Change, pestilence, sex.
Well, welcome back to Tabletop Roundup here on this, again, still rainy Saturday afternoon. A rather unusual song choice from John, I will admit, the main theme for Fallout 3.
And you know it works.
I heard the first two notes and I was like, oh.
Main theme for Fallout 3, and then I followed it up with, not the main theme, but one of the themes from Oblivion.
Yeah.
Two of our favorite video games.
Well, I mean, not mine, but certainly up there.
Yeah, it's certainly up there.
I got like a coveted 3 spots specifically. That's those are my favorites. But
You know what? Fair.
different topic
Fair.
entirely.
So during the break, as short as it was, we talked a little bit. So I want to preface this by saying we're not here to change your mind. Again, we're playing this by the rule of cool. If Chaos is the faction that stands out the most to you, then by all means, jump on that bandwagon, jump into Chaos, and become corrupted like Horus. We don't care. That's okay. But we do want to expose you a little bit to some of the other factions and share our knowledge of how they work and their lore with you. So at the very least, you're making an educated choice.
We also did, while we were talking about the other thing, we did forget about number 4 of the Chaos Demons. Good old Siege.
As we have to look it up.
Yeah, his name is very interesting. Or their name.
I'm just saying, if you
Entuch.
if you have to look it up, is he popular? That's my question.
Basically, this one's being focused on magic and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's more than big brain kind of stuff. Literally,
So-
the change god is their
Like Thousand Suns type of.
in a sense. Yeah. I think the Thousand Suns are faction under Zage.
I mean, I'm sorry, Josh, but Tyranids was also on my list because I really do like being able to swarm on the enemy.
Mhm.
For the swarm.
I brought.
Okay, I know that's a third line, but literally the same. All right, come at me. They just
So
look different.
So we have plans to, after the show, go and teach you at least the basics how to play Warhammer. With me, I have my Tau and a batch of, 500 points worth of Tyranids. I brought the codexes with me. I don't have the new Tyranid codex yet, but John, I know the Tyranids are more of what you're leaning towards right now. So why don't you go ahead and share a little bit about the Tyranids?
The destroyer of worlds, intergalactic predators, hive fleets, creatures of the swarm, a hive mind. Tyranids, like I said, I made the joke earlier, and especially last time that I was on here, that Tyranids are a lot like Xur, because they are. The two are very similar to each other, and I'm not saying one's ripped off the other, blah, 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 blah. No, they're very similar in both playstyle and visual appearance. The Tyranids are very much, in a sense, visually they look very similar to the Xenomorphs from the Alien series.
Yeah.
Kind of the not total lack of eyes. They definitely have eyes, but more focused of like the plates. They have these segmented plates kind of over their head, very shiny looking plates. Their bodies, multiple limbed, very big, multiple jointed. Some of them long and multiple tentacle appendages. The idea of the Tyranids is, a swarm. Overwhelm them with numbers. That's their whole thing. Whether it's to the tiniest little ones amongst them all, to the absolutely colossal numbers in some of them. All of them just want one thing: to kill, to prey on you, and to steal your genes.
Yeah.
It should be noted that even some of the smallest members of these guys are comparable in size to the Space Marines, which are easily 7 to 8 feet tall. These guys are large. And they are specialized. Some of them are generally much more melee combatants, big bladed guys. However, some of them do have some psychic connections. I believe I saw one here earlier as I'm flipping through the pages. Yeah, here we go. Kind of more of I believe. I believe specifically they are the more of the Krakens, I believe. I might be wrong on that.
Well, I know, like we're talking about the psychic Tyranids, right?
Yes, the Saiyans.
I know that I have, as the name escapes me too now. Wow, this forgetfulness is surprisingly infectious today. I believe they're called. If I had the model in my hand, I could tell you all about it, but I don't. I left it out in the lobby. They're not bloodletters. They're not broodlords. Broodlords.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Oh, funny
Wow,
enough.
that took a
Also a
moment.
Zerg term. Yeah, the broodlords are more on the psychic end of everything. So, yeah, not only are they capable of storming you with absolutely massive amounts of flesh, they're capable of tearing you to pieces 20 different ways, but they can also psychically blast you in 20 different ways.
Yeah. And then for me, who plays Tau, who are not in tune with psychic at all, it's very much like, we enter the psychic phase, and you'll see when we play, it's very much like, yep, can't do anything about it. Yep, all right, go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, it gets annoying.
Yeah, but it's like I said earlier, some of them get absolutely massive. So just the hive tyrants and the swarm lords who can, easily be compared to like small buildings. They can easily climb skyscrapers if they felt like it in like a couple of minutes, just like climbing up the side.
Yeah, very much bug-esque, gross. A lot of Warhammer is gross.
Yeah, and they're also not limited to melee or psychic at all. They do have artillery. Literally artillery units built into the body, like with some of these guys. Yeah, they literally have specialized artillery organisms.
Yeah, jumping into Tyranids for a minute here, and kind of, spoiler alert, it's all just more of the same in the tournament circuit. Tyranids winning all but one tournament this week. The new codex really beefed them up too.
Yeah.
So it's like the Tyranids are a force to be reckoned with, both in the lore and on the tabletop. Very swarmy, very horror type. Those like horror, like basically these are like the fast zombie equivalent. The World War Z rules of zombies in Warhammer.
That was
basically.
actually the one book that I said I read that I actually didn't read.
Oh, you didn't use Spark Notes in school?
I barely did.
No one.
I just admitted to I didn't read it.
You know what? Fair. Yeah, looking at the at some of these pictures, I mean, the Tyranids are just. I mean, their models are not as gruesome or maybe not as like pointy as the Chaos, but
They're pointy. They're definitely pointy.
It's not
But-
as gnarly, but it still is.
yeah,
Yeah, they're not gory, but they're still very much like body horror in a
Mhm.
sense. Just
It's-
more of just like the structure of them overall is very unnatural
Yeah,
by our definitions.
Is it more
Mhm.
like the exoskeleton? It
Yeah.
just kind of builds off pieces like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, literally, you can see it even in their guns and whatnot. It's literally just like exoskeleton plate. It's merged. Some of them is merged with the body.
they're literally born and like grown. How does
Literally
a
made for war.
yeah literally made for war, and it's just I mean they're a hive mind,
Mhm.
and so it's like yeah that's really all they're there for is just
To eat everything.
to eat everything, including planets, down to the core.
I can relate to eating planets.
Yes, I'd like a nice cup of dirt, please. Thank you.
I'd like a nice big of a cup of your entire gene pool. Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
And then the Tyranids also have alongside of them forces of the Hive Mind, including the Gene Stealer cults. So groups of humans. There's groups of humans in nearly every faction. Some factions. Groups of humans that have devoted themselves to serving the Tyranids. I don't know why anyone would rationally choose to do that.
Is there
I mean, again, we have the tech priest. Like, come on, the level of rationality in Warhammer does not exist.
is it
You know what?
more
You have a
like-
good point.
Is it more like a if I help you, can you not eat me kind of situation?
I mean, they won't eat you.
But they're not going to like give you a spaceship.
You're not going to be you.
Yeah, like you are definitely like below like 10th class citizen with them.
Yeah.
Whereas the Tau, on the other hand,
Oh boy.
are all about unity and space communism.
Well, I mean, so are the Tyranids, but you know, we just have a hive mind do it for us. You fuckers.
I let you do your thing. So the Tau are a relatively young race in the Warhammer 40k universe. They have a very strict caste system. So the caste that you're born into determines your role in society for the rest of your life. So there's 5 main castes. The 2 that you see in on the tabletop are the Ethereals, who by some pheromone chemical reaction make it so any Tau nearby feels like honor bound to listen to their every word. You have the Ethereals and the Fire Caste being your soldiers and warriors, etc. And those are what you're going to deal with mainly in the game. And they have a very they're very forgiving. A lot of times when they discover a new world, they first say, like, hey, we are the Tau. We are here to help you. Here's a list of conditions. And it's basically accept us and our rule, or we kill you. And there's a lot of species and a lot of planets that have submitted, whether willingly or by, the barrel of a gun, to the Tau. Many worlds of humans willingly joining the Tau. Simply because the Imperium of Man had forgotten about them or just never cared about them. And now, there's this new group saying, hey, we care about you.
In a sense,
like-
we care about you as long as you accept everything about us.
Right. Like, we care
Not
about
bad to
you.
us.
We care about you. We're here to, we will help you. We'll rebuild your planet for you. Just accept us and our rule and serve us as servants. And that's a step up for a lot of humans who are living in the Imperium of Man. Being nobody to something. That's a step up.
But specifically being nobody with like a chance every day to be sacrificed to the God Emperor, but you can't
Right.
worry about that detail.
Exactly. And then, the Tau go in and you see that they have their army isn't just Tau. A lot of species, or a lot of armies in Warhammer, I should say, when you go into Chaos, it's just going to be Chaos, Space Marines, and Demons. When you play Imperium, you're only going to field men, humans. When you play Necrons, Tyranids, right.
Orcs are orcs.
And the Tau have adopted other races into the Tau Empire. And the main ones you see on the battlefield are the Tau and the Kroot. Kroot kind of just being throwaway units on the table that come with some actually pretty interesting abilities. Being able to get a 7-inch pre-game move before anything even starts with the Kroot. Them being able classified as troops, so they hold OBSEC, so objective secured. They're weak, but they're worth every point you put into them. They're like 6 points apiece. You get those points out of them, that's for sure. And then the Tau are not strong physically, so they make up with that by having battle suits, which, random fun fact, the artistic director and like creator of the Tau Empire has openly said they're based off of like anime.
Yeah.
I don't care.
There's a reason why people are like, oh, the anime space weeaboos.
Yeah, space
That's
communists. Yeah, that's why.
Anime space weeaboo communists.
Let me show you a picture of some of these battle suits, but based off of anime, but they're very much like, as I nearly dropped my book, they're very much. Do you see it? Do you see it?
Oh my god.
Do you see it now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just Gundam.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
That's just Gundam.
But they're very strong. They're really good at stealing technology from the Imperium and making it better.
Sure.
At the Tau Flamer.
Better.
At the Tau Flamer. Their units, they're cheap, but they're cheap, but the battle suits, the more you have of the battle suits, the more scary your army becomes. I have a few. You'll see them later.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's basically rundown of the Tau. Just they're the most good faction of Warhammer.
Yeah.
Where no faction is good.
Yeah.
So they're the most, I'd say they're more like chaotic good on the alignment chart, or maybe chaotic neutral. What do you think, John? I'm looking at you grimacing over there. Where do you think the Tau would fall? I mean, okay, we got chaos, which would be
Lawful evil, maybe?
chaotic evil.
Chaotic evil.
They're chaos.
Oh.
Chaotic
Imperium,
evil.
Imperium man is lawful evil.
I would say
Yeah.
Tau.
Tau at least is neutral, somewhere in the neutral
I'd
spectrum.
say Tau would hit, in a sense, lawful neutral because they're trying to bring order
You know what? That
to
makes
the-
sense.
to the galaxy by their means, by their rules, by their laws, which is pretty much exactly what a
Mhm.
lawful neutral character. Not like beat for beat, you would play a lawful neutral character as that, but that's like the basis for
Lawful.
for lawful neutral.
The reference, it's not exactly, you don't have to follow.
Orcs would probably be true neutral. I don't think they care about anything.
No, they're here to fight.
Yeah. The
They're here to fight and
Eldari.
go,
Gosh. Oh yeah. Each orc army is called the Wog.
yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
But you have to do it the way you did it.
Wog!
Yeah, that's literally what they're called. Spelled WAAAAGH exclamation point.
Yeah.
That is
yeah.
how they're spelled.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so each orc, I can't do it. Each orc wog fleet.
You have to do it from like the base of your throat.
Yeah,
You got to like reverberate it with sheer force and power. Just wog!
yeah, exactly.
I never repeated a few of the mics. Sorry about that.
That's fine. But with that, It's already like our last 5 minutes.
Yeah, we
So-
steamroll through this.
Um,
Absolutely nerding out.
So 2 questions that I got. First off, maximum number of points you can play in a game of Warhammer, as many as you would like.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there's like I think we talked about it last time. There's technically no real upper limit to Warhammer. There's just
How
like,
long you want to
standard.
play
There's,
it.
there's
Yeah.
like standard like systems you can like. I think what was like 2000.
2000 is where most games, most tournaments lay.
Yeah, but then you have like the apocalyptic kind of stuff, and that goes well beyond that.
Yeah, I like
Or even
10.
smaller games. It's like 500.
Which is what
Yeah.
we're going to
Yeah.
play.
Yeah.
And the other question: can you field an army with almost all vehicles? Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can go.
You can do that. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Will it succeed? Maybe.
If you're definitely good enough at doing it, if you feel comfortable enough pulling it off. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you're really going to feel more like the Tau, like the Tau. Why is it Tau? Oof.
Ooh.
Like the Tau. You're definitely going to be probably more weak to psychic kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you still pack like a punch physically.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that, coming up on the last 5 minutes of the show, Evelyn, are you still aligned to chaos?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I figured. But
Sadly, like you can't see into the room, but as Kaylee was explaining the Tau, I was slowly kind of like leaning, like I'm like, I don't know, I just kind of gave a look like, no.
see, the Tau
Good.
are I know a lot of people jumped onto the Tau bandwagon when they came really good when the new codex came out.
Yeah.
I liked the Tau way before that.
I liked the Tau before it was cool.
And I'm not saying that as like a I'm better than you, but I'm saying that as like a I didn't like the Tau because they're good. I like the Tau because of their lore.
Yeah, that's how you should treat it. It's like you should whatever faction you pick is obviously you can do it because they're good, especially if you're going for a more competitive kind of mindset.
Mhm.
But a healthy way of looking at it, pick what you like.
Yeah, exactly. Pick what you like. Pick what you think looks cool, has the coolest lore. Pick what makes you happy.
Right.
And go with
I forgot
that.
the Chaos Demon I was interested in, the Mr. Magic guy. That's it.
Zinch.
Zinch.
Huge.
Yeah.
Zinch
Thousand
is the
Suns.
Yeah,
The Thousand Suns probably being what I would recommend you go for there. I do not like them. Anyway, it's because their psychic phase is like 20 minutes long, and it's like,
right.
please stop.
And you're
I can't
Tau
do-
player.
You're stuck
You're
there.
a Tau
I'm a Tau
so
player.
you hate it.
I can't do anything about it. But yeah, and it's just pick what makes you happy.
So if
Pick
you're
what.
having a problem with like a Tau player, just go Thousands.
There's a lot of there. The Tau are only good with specific lists that I do not own. So
Yeah.
I don't have my other armies. They're still out in Utah. They have yet to be sent to me. But they will be soon. I hope. I'm looking at you. Anyway, Anyway, point being, pick what makes you happy. It's okay. You don't need to apologize. Take your time. Just pick what makes you happy. Pick what you think is going to fulfill you, make your little heart happy, and yeah.
Oh, my heart little.
Just do what you think is best. And with that, we are out of time here on Tabletop Roundup. Thank you, too, for joining me again. Evelyn, I hope you enjoy your foray into Warhammer. I hope you enjoy the game. I'm definitely going to report on it next week, what happens with it.
I guess I might be a reoccurring guest.
We'll see.
Wait, no, I work Saturday next week.
Ah.
No.
I will be a reoccurring.
Yeah, but we'll definitely have to have you two back on when you both can. We'll definitely continue your foray into Warhammer as so long as you'd like, even if you end up just liking it for the lore. That's fine too. Enjoy what makes you happy, whether that be being the nerdiest nerd like us, or going to the gym, or whatever it is. Be yourself, be happy, be proud of it, and never be afraid to share what you love. Anyway, we are out of time. Thank you all so much for joining us here on Tabletop Roundup. Please stay tuned. After we're going to have some great programs up for you for the rest of the night. I hope everyone listening has a great rest of your day. And remember, blood for the blood god, skulls for the skull throne. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great rest of your day.
For severe illness, hospitalization, and death from COVID-19.
We're
The
good.
risk of severe COVID-19 increases as the number of medical conditions increases in the first day.
Ain't that up here?